Listen now to the book, One Night with the Hybrid King, written by the author Aria and Caelum. If you want to buy the ebook, link in the description. Subscribe to the channel. Like and share. Chapter 86, Eloan. Wake up, Elo, wake up. My little brother's urgent, anxious voice shakes me as he grabs my shoulder. I open my eyes, but everything around me is blurry. A growing haze of fear starts to spread through my chest, making it hard to breathe. Where are we, Thor? I ask, my voice trembling as I look around. The place is dark, the walls made of rough, uneven stone, damp and covered with moss that emits a pungent, unpleasant smell. He stares at me, his wide eyes glistening with tears. I don't know, he replies, his voice shaky. But Mom was acting strange, wasn't she? The doubt and confusion on his face make me swallow hard. I shake my head at his question. She wasn't our mother, that much I knew. That wasn't Mom. It was a woman wearing Mom's face, I say, curling in on myself and lowering my voice. We need to get out of here, little brother, I add, my voice trembling. Thorn gets up and starts pacing around the small room we're trapped in. All I want to do is cry and call for my mom. He walks toward the door, the floor creaking under his small steps. The door is made of dark wood, reinforced with rusty metal bars. Thorn reaches for the handle and twists it hurriedly. It doesn't budge, it's locked. He pounds on it with his fists. Help! Get us out of here, help, he yells, banging his small hands against the wood as tears pool in his eyes. His voice echoes through the room, a desperate and lonely sound. I run to him and grab his arm, pulling him away from the door with an urgency I can't explain. Don't do that. She'll hear you. I whisper in panic, glancing toward the dark corners of the room, as if something terrible could emerge from the shadows at any moment. We huddle together in the corner of the room, clinging to each other, searching for any semblance of safety. My whole body trembles, and I can feel Thorn shaking too. The mattress we had been lying on is nothing but a thin, filthy piece of fabric on the rough stone floor, reeking of a rancid stench that turns my stomach. All I want is my mom. She always knows what to do, always tells us that nothing can hurt us as long as we're together. But now, she isn't here. Her absence feels like a crushing void that makes everything even more terrifying. What are we going to do, then? Thorn asks, his voice as frightened as mine. A memory surfaces, clear and vivid, as if my mother were whispering in my ear. Thor, do you remember what Mom always says? I ask, my voice rising with a glimmer of hope. He tilts his head, frowning, still confused but trying to grasp what I'm talking about. Always wash our hands before eating, he asks with a glimmer of hope, as if that could somehow be the answer. I let out a small laugh, a faint sound that brightens our fear for just a moment. To always be brave and stick together, I say, trying to mimic Mom's tone. We need to be brave now. Brave, like Alex was with us. Remember how he played with us and knocked down the castle wall to rescue the princess? Thorn says with excitement. That's it. Let's knock down the wall and escape, just like Alex did. I agree. I close my eyes, trying to visualize the scene as we did in our game. I focus, imagining the walls crumbling, the path opening to our freedom. I try to feel the power within me, like a silent flame flickering, growing stronger. A tingling sensation runs through my hands, a warm and powerful energy. I don't know where this feeling is coming from, but it's as if something inside me is stirring, eager to help. Hold my hand, Thor. Let's be brave and united, just like Mom taught us. I declare confidently, feeling something awaken within me. We both stare at the stone wall in front of us. Closing our eyes, I try to picture what Alex told us about enchantresses, people with magical powers who can shape the world around them. I imagine the wall opening, like a giant slowly awakening, and I feel the energy in my chest grow stronger, as though it's responding to my thoughts. Suddenly, a low, deep sound echoes through the room, like stone cracking, and I feel Thorn squeeze my hand tighter, both scared and amazed. A crack appears in the wall, growing and spreading until it forms an opening, as if the stone itself is surrendering to our desire for freedom. My eyes widen, and my entire body fills with exhilaration. Without thinking twice, I pull Thorn through the newly opened passage. The cold forest air surrounds us as soon as we step outside. For a moment, I'm frozen, both in awe and terror. We're in a dark forest. Everything feels bigger, more menacing, and I feel small and fragile against the vast, threatening wilderness around us. Like in the story Mom told us, now we need to find the... Thorn pauses, confused, scratching his head as he tries to recall the end of the tale. The magic trail. If we find the magic trail, Mom will find us. I exclaim, remembering the story of the forest and the magical path. Thorn and I start running through the forest. Everything is dark and frightening. I grip his hand tightly as we dart between the trees. The fear surrounding us feels alive, and with every step, my heart beats faster. Do you think there are wolves here? Thorn suddenly asks, catching his breath after all our running. Our eyes widen as we glance into the surrounding darkness, as if at any moment, something might leap out from behind the trees. My throat goes dry, and I swallow hard. The sounds of the forest grow louder, as though we're awakening things that should have been left undisturbed. I think we'd better hide from the wolves, ELO, Thorn whispers, his voice trembling, barely audible and laced with fear as strong as my own. He looks at me, his wide, shining eyes piercing the darkness, reflecting the terror we both feel, like a mirror. Carefully, I pull Thorn behind a wide, gnarled tree, its exposed roots sprawling across the ground like tentacles. We crouch low, huddling together, clinging to each other as we try to hide from the noises and the biting cold that envelop us.
Chapter 87 Caelum. It's best if you already have a verdict for the annulment of my marriage. Because I swear to the gods, if you don't, I'll slaughter every single one of you and find better lycans. I threaten, irritation lacing my voice. Every member of the royal council stares at me in fear, and I find it invigorating. I'm done being patient, done being the benevolent king. It's brought me nothing but headaches and betrayal. We're working on it, Your Majesty. We've contacted the kingdom of Syltirion, but we haven't received a response yet. We need to handle this carefully to avoid sparking a war between the two realms. Finn replies, his voice trembling. To hell with a war between us. There's already a civil war brewing within my own kingdom. If you don't annul my marriage to Seraphina by the end of this month, I'll personally kick her out and find another mate to take her place. Do you understand? I roar, my voice shaking the windows of the chamber. Before anyone can respond, Asher strides in through the door, his face serious but tinged with concern. I motion for him to approach with a single nod. Your Majesty, as you requested, I've been keeping an eye on Aria. It seems she's filed a report with the human police. Her children and her mother are missing, Asher reports. Without waiting for further details, I storm out of the council meeting. My frustration with Aria's constant rejection is momentarily eclipsed by the news of the children's disappearance. It doesn't take long for me to reach Aria's house, where a lone police car is parked outside. I enter her home without bothering to wait for her to answer the door. The moment I step inside, Aria's eyes meet mine, startled. For a fleeting moment, her expression softens, as if expecting good news, the return of her children. But as soon as she realizes it's me, her face hardens into something more pained. I came as soon as I heard, I say, regret heavy in my voice. Aria nods silently and sits down at the kitchen table. Her face looks drawn, her eyes red and swollen from crying. I step closer and sit across from her. I'm paying for my sins, Caelum, for the betrayal, for the lies. I thought I'd have time to make things right, but I don't, Aria mutters through tears. My children are God knows where. Alexander is hanging by a thread. All of this because I couldn't be honest, because I let myself give in to my desires with you. Aria, we'll find your children, I reply, my voice heavy with guilt. The weight of responsibility begins to settle on me too. I wanted to stay angry with her, with the way Aria handles our little entanglement. But seeing her like this, punishing herself over things beyond her control, only makes me want to help her. The police have no leads, no way, Aria mutters hopelessly. There is a way, Aria. It's not conventional, but it exists, I reply with conviction. Forbidden magic. Aria's eyes widen in shock. Only magic can solve this pain for her now. I'll use magic, and we will find your children, I declare firmly, standing up. Aria follows suit, rising to her feet. How? What are you going to do? She asks, alarmed. I need blood. Your blood, I answer, summoning a map of my kingdom with my powers. The object materializes and falls onto the table. I unfurl it completely as Aria watches, confused, clearly unsure of what's happening. I'll cast a location spell. It's a blood spell, forbidden magic, but it's the only way to find them. Do you trust me? Aria nods, and that's all I need. I grab a sharp kitchen knife and reach for her hand. It'll hurt a little, I warn before making a deep cut in her palm. Aria lets out a small cry, and her blood begins to drip onto the map. I start chanting the arcane commands of the forbidden magic, ancient runes appearing in my mind. The atmosphere around us stirs, and my powers awaken deep within me. Aria's blood moves across the map like a living substance. As I channel the forbidden spell, demanding it reveal their location, the house vibrates around us. The blood weaves across the map until it finally stops over Grimroot Forest. This is where they are, on the outskirts of the enchantress territory, I inform her hastily. Let's go find them. The location spell remains active, bound to the person linked to Aria's blood. Inside the car, silence hangs between us. My focus alternates between the road ahead and Aria's blood, which shifts and writhes, guiding us to our destination. Eventually, the road ends, and we can't drive any farther. The spell leads us deep into the forest. We run, shouting for the children, closing in on the spot the blood indicates. The exact location is an abandoned cabin. Aria bolts toward it, and I move to stop her. However, when we enter the cabin, we find only Lyra, Aria's mother, locked in a room. The cabin reeks of a familiar scent, but it's overwhelmed by the decay of the decrepit place and the dark magic permeating the air. Mom, what happened? Where are the children? Aria asks, her voice trembling with worry. Lyra, panting and visibly shaken, recounts the appearance of someone disguised as Aria. An enchantress is somehow involved in this abduction. I step closer to Lyra, trying to control my own anxiety, my mind racing with questions and possibilities. Did you manage to see their face? The real face? I ask, my tone sharp. Lyra swallows hard, closing her eyes for a moment before replying. Only a glimpse as she ran past. She was pale, with short red hair. She wasn't alone. There was a man with her. I couldn't see many details. The door was locked. The image of Seraphina, my wife, floods my mind with startling clarity, and an icy dread settles over me. No, I murmur in disbelief. The words catch in my throat, and my body freezes. I try to push the thought away, but it's impossible. My mind is overwhelmed by a wave of shock and fear. My gaze meets Aria's, and I see the same realization dawning in her eyes. A paralyzing terror takes over her expression as she grasps the meaning of the description. The queen kidnapped my children, Caelum, she asks in despair. Her hands tremble, and I see panic give way to a deep pain, mingled with anger and fear. Caelum, what does Seraphina want with my children? I don't know, I reply, my voice brimming with frustration and rage. Fury rises within me, an uncontrollable blaze scorching my composure. I feel like a fool for trusting Seraphina, for letting myself be deceived. I try to reason, to find an explanation, but the betrayal consumes me, clouding my logic. My mind fills with fragmented images and guesses, none of them making sense. Caelum, where could Seraphina have taken my children? Aria presses, her voice trembling with desperation. Let's do the spell again. Find them. The location spell only brought us here. Repeating it would lead to the same place. I need something stronger. The spell will only bring us back here. To go further, we need something more powerful. Blood from. I leave the sentence unfinished, the words dying on my lips. With urgency, I grab the map again, and without overthinking, I draw my dagger, slicing my palm and pressing it to the paper. My blood spills over the map, absorbed by the spell as I whisper. Let this work, let this work. I recite the incantation once more, willing the magic to follow the new trail of blood. The blood moves like a crimson serpent slithering across the paper, pointing to a spot some meters beyond the cabin. Without wasting a second, I dash outside, Aria and Lyra close behind me. My lycan speed propels me forward, each stride faster than the last, my muscles coiled tight, claws threatening to manifest should I need to fight. Aria and Lyra call out for the twins, their voices echoing through the forest, laden with desperation. At last, the spell leads us to a clearing where a hollow log lies fallen on the ground, surrounded by leaves and moss. My heart pounds in my chest as I come to a halt, almost unable to believe what I'm seeing. There, amidst the branches and dampness, two tiny figures emerge, small and fragile, crawling out of the hollow log. Their crumpled little clothes and bright, wide eyes reflect a mix of fear and relief. My children, Thorn, Eloan, I whisper, my voice breaking under the weight of the emotion overwhelming me. My legs tremble, and for a moment, I feel weak, vulnerable.
Chapter 88, Aria. The moment I discover the paternity of my children is a whirlwind of emotions I never thought I would face. My chest feels like it's about to burst as I reach Caelum and see Thorn and Eloan emerging from the hollow tree trunk. The scene around us seems frozen, the dense forest shrouded in twilight, where the silence is broken only by the rustling of leaves and the muffled sound of our footsteps. Their little faces are smudged with dirt, fear etched into their wide, frightened eyes. They cling to each other as if the world itself is a constant threat. To them, Caelum is not a father. He is an imposing figure, almost beast-like, someone who radiates power and danger even in silence. But then they see me. The tension in their fragile bodies eases. Their eyes light up with recognition and hope. Before they can take a single step, I move. Every muscle in my body aches to close the distance between us. When I reach them, everything else disappears. The world shrinks to the warmth of Thorn and Eloan's small bodies, their muffled sobs as we hold each other tightly, as if we never want to let go. My heart feels like it's breaking and mending all at once. We did what you always told us, Mama. We stayed brave and together. Eloan murmurs through her sobs, her fragile voice trembling like leaves in the wind. She clings to my neck with a surprising strength for someone so small, and the familiar scent of her hair, even mingled with dirt, wraps around me like a balm. But I was scared, Mama, so scared. Scared the masked woman would find us, she adds, her voice trailing off, as if saying too much might summon the danger again. My hands glide over her back as I pull Thorn even closer. He says nothing, but his small arms cling to me with an intensity that makes me realize just how terrified they were. I kiss their heads repeatedly, as if trying to seal the certainty that everything is safe now. It's okay, my princess, my prince, I whisper, feeling the words falter under the weight of the emotion in my voice. You were so brave, my loves. I'm so proud of you. Despite the relief filling my heart, I notice they're trembling. My arms tighten around them, hoping to warm them, but I can't tell if the shaking is from the cold or the lingering fear still gripping them. Tears fill my eyes again, but this time it's gratitude, for having them back, for being able to hold them. You should come with me to the castle. Caelum's voice echoes through the forest, deep and commanding. The sound stirs even the hidden birds in the branches above, sending them into sudden flight with a flurry of wings. My instincts go on high alert. I stand up, instinctively placing my children behind me in a protective gesture. They cling to my legs, and I feel their small hands gripping the fabric of my clothes. Caelum's eyes, green and intense, are fixed on me, glowing with an emotion I can't identify. Expectation? Determination? All I see in him now is danger, a danger I cannot allow to get any closer to my children. Thank you for the offer, Caelum, I say, my voice steady even though my heart is in turmoil with conflicting emotions. But the best thing for them is to stay away from the castle, away from you. Seraphina is dangerous. She may be watching us right now, planning some other attack. Staying by Caelum's side is the worst thing I could do right now for my children. I feel Caelum's gaze burning into me, full of rage and disbelief, as if my words have triggered a storm he doesn't know how to contain. What did you say, Aria? They're my children, he responds angrily, raising his voice. He steps forward, his imposing presence seeming to grow with each movement. No, they're my children, I retort, feeling the heat of anger rising within me. My hands instinctively pull Thorn and Aloan even closer. To you and the rest of the world, they mean danger, death, persecution. Your wife nearly killed them, Caelum. Do you really think I'll let them near you? You won't stop me from having them, Aria. Caelum yells and moves toward me like a predator. I notice the quick shift in his green eyes to the golden eyes of a wolf. My heart races, but not from fear. It's a fierce protective instinct that takes over me. I take steps back, pulling my children even closer to me. They scream in fear at Caelum's possessive stance and begin to cry. Caelum, stop. You're scaring the kids, I say, trying to keep my voice firm, even though the fury inside me grows with every second. No matter how threatening he becomes, I won't back down. Not when it comes to my children. They're as much mine as they are yours, Aria. Caelum erupts in anger. His body seems ready to change completely, as though he's on the verge of shifting. There's a wildness in his golden eyes that almost makes me believe he's no longer the man I once knew. No, they're not, Caelum. My children aren't your property for you to take, just because you need them now. Your wife, a powerful enchantress who seems to have deceived you for so long, is after them. I won't let you take them until she's captured and imprisoned, I respond firmly. You're insane. A crazy, ungrateful woman, you know that? Caelum roars, his voice dripping with contempt, but there's something deeper behind his words, frustration, maybe even pain. He steps forward again, and the power in his voice is so overwhelming that I feel the ground beneath me tremble. They are mine. My children, my heirs. Mine. The sound is so powerful that the birds still hiding in the treetops take flight, their wings beating against the branches in a chaotic symphony. The forest seems to pulse with his energy, every fiber of the environment reacting to his roar. Thorn, however, is not intimidated. Stop yelling at Mommy. Thorn's trembling voice cuts through the air, as unexpected as the bravery it carries. My little one, so small, steps out from behind me and faces Caelum with his head held high. You're mean, and we don't want to be with you. The impact of Thorn's words is immediate. Caelum steps back, his golden eyes flickering back to green for a moment, as if our son's courage had pierced through his rage. He looks shocked, lost, as though he hadn't expected to be confronted this way. It's as if the world around him stops, and the force of his emotions is momentarily contained. My hand moves straight to Thorn's shoulder, gently pulling him back to my side. He doesn't resist. Instead, he aligns himself next to me and wraps his small arms around my waist, as if needing to reaffirm his safety. Aloan also moves closer, her face hidden in my clothes, while I continue to stare at Caelum. I won't let you scare them anymore, Caelum, I declare, my voice low but full of determination. If you want to be their father, start by showing them they can trust you. And that doesn't start with shouting and threats.
Chapter 89, Seraphina. Damn it, damn it, damn it. With every beat of my wings, I feel the weight of the frustration building in my chest. The cold morning wind cuts through my bird form, but not even that can erase the heat of the rage burning inside me. My eyes, sharpened in the transformation, clearly see the moment when Caelum approaches the children. My heart, even hardened by years of calculation and strategy, leaps involuntarily. He found them. I thought I'd be faster. I thought my intelligence, my magic, my ability to manipulate the pieces of this infernal game would put me ahead. But no, those two brats were quick, they slipped through my grasp and somehow went straight to him, as if fate itself was determined to spit in my face. I turn abruptly in the air, flapping my wings forcefully as I pull away from the scene. My only thought is to get to the castle. Every gust of wind feels like a slap, a cruel reminder that my plan, carefully crafted over months, is crumbling right before my eyes. When I finally spot the castle towers in the distance, I increase my speed, my small, light body cutting through the air like an arrow. As soon as I reach my room, I dive through the open window and land softly on the floor with a light thud. The transformation from bird to human is instant, and the discomfort of the change rips through my bones. But I don't have time to feel the pain. I take a deep breath, struggling against the storm of emotions threatening to consume me. The anger, the frustration, the feeling of betrayal. All of it bubbles inside me like lava about to explode. But I can't give in. Not now. My days in the palace are numbered, and if I want to survive, if I want to win, I need to act fast. My fingers tremble as I move quickly, grabbing whatever I need. I can't leave anything behind. Every object in the dungeon is vital for what's to come. It doesn't matter that my plan has gone to hell. There's still time to regroup, to turn the tide in my favor. I leave the room and stride through the castle corridors with quick, determined steps. The dungeon is cold and damp, the smell of wet earth mixing with the metallic scent of magic lingering in the air. There's no time for hesitation. I close my eyes and recite the teleportation spell, my voice low but filled with power. The grimoires, potions, and artifacts begin to disappear, one by one, to a safe place I've already prepared. Each item that vanishes is a reminder of everything I still need to do, of all the battles to come. My mind is racing, my thoughts tumbling over each other in search of solutions. There's no time for regret. Syltirion. The thought of returning to my homeland crosses my mind, like a brief breath of temporary relief. But I quickly discard the idea. There, magic is dying, slipping through my people's fingers like fine sand. Without magic, I am nothing. My kingdom is nothing. I can't afford to flee there now. I still need my powers to capture Caelum's children again. And for that, I need allies. I need Karen. As soon as I finish in the dungeon, I hurry out of the castle. I head toward the place where Karen is staying. He's the only one who can help me now. Or at least, the only one who won't question me. I enter without ceremony, but he's not there. The empty space seems to echo my frustration. His absence is like a blow, but also an opportunity. Finally, I let everything I've been holding in slip out. I scream. I thrash. My hands ball into fists, and I bang against the walls, my magic bursting out in uncontrollable sparks that scorch small marks into the wooden floor. Every curse that spills from my mouth carries the weight of my anger and helplessness. How can the gods abandon me like this? I've been searching for the best way to save my kingdom. I've been a loyal wife. I tried to fulfill my role by bearing an heir for him and for my people, who are losing their powers every day. And nothing is enough. Nothing is enough. My knees finally give way, and I collapse to the floor, my face hidden in my hands. The tears, hot and furious, fall without permission, a silent confession of everything I've been holding in. As much as I hate to admit it, I'm tired. Tired of fighting, of planning, of sacrificing everything for a kingdom that keeps slipping through my fingers. But I can't stop. I can't give up. No matter how much the world seems against me, there's still a part of me that refuses to accept defeat. Seraphina, what's happened? Karen suddenly appears, looking at me with a surprised expression. I explain how Caelum found the children, and that I finally managed to leave that castle, that I no longer need to pretend to be Caelum's wife. Karen gives a brief smile and pulls me close, embracing me tightly. Finally, you're free, Seraphina, he celebrates, spinning me around the room. For these brief moments, I allow his happiness over the end of my union with Caelum to infect me. The annulment may not be official, but I will never step foot in that castle again. I will never share a bed with Caelum again, and that, in itself, is a victory. But soon reality knocks at the door, and I must face it. I need to get those children to save Syltirion. How are we going to do this now, Karen? I ask, desperation in my voice. Caelum will likely put a battalion around those children. It will be impossible. I notice a more severe, darker look in his eyes. Karen begins to pace, searching for a solution to our problem. I can only think of one solution, but it's not good for either of us, only for Syltirion, he announces, his voice heavy with weight and mystery. Our eyes meet, and I notice a flicker of dissatisfaction in his violet eyes. Tell me, I'll do anything. I hurry him, demanding to know what his mind is plotting. The use of skin changing. You said it yourself. Caelum will place many guards around the children to keep us from getting close. But the mother? Karen speaks with a cold voice. If you perform the skin change, taking Aria's soul and becoming her forever, you'll have the children and get your revenge against Caelum, while ruling over the entire kingdom of Veridiana. The plan is extreme. The spell requires much more than just me transforming into Aria for a short period. I would be her forever, never able to return to my own face. I look at the mirror and admire my beauty. I like what I see. I like my pale face, my high cheekbones, my liquid gold eyes. I run my hand through my soft, silky red hair, short for practicality. I have the beauty of an enchantress, a perfect body, and I love every piece of myself. I don't want to be that human for the rest of my life, Karen, I retort upset. She's impure, weak, ugly, plain. I don't want to give up my divinity for that. Karen stands behind me, admiring my reflection in the mirror with me. He wraps his arms around my waist, his lips brushing against my neck. The human will never be as beautiful as you, I admit, but your sacrifice for our kingdom of Syltirion deserves this, don't you think? He asks, his voice full of seduction.
Chapter 90 Aria. Aria, I can't believe what you did, my mother declares, her voice full of indignation. I look at her, not understanding what she's talking about. My children are finally safe, lying in their beds, the soft sound of their breathing echoing in my mind like a fragile reminder that, at least for now, they are protected. But my body can't relax, my muscles are still tense, and my heart pounds with the memory of everything that happened. I turn to face her, my brow furrowed in exhaustion and irritation. What are you talking about now, Lyra? I ask impatiently. My mother follows me to my room and sits in the armchair by the door. She huffs and shakes her head, as if gathering sharp words to throw at me. Her gaze carries all the reproach she's accumulated over the years, as if I'm a walking disappointment. You turned down the king's offer. Aria, by now we could all be living in the palace, enjoying the finest things. How can you be so selfish? She accuses, pointing a finger at me, the intensity of her voice filling the room. Her words fall on me like stones, heavy and unexpected. My already exhausted body feels even more drained. Feeling the floor give way beneath me, I collapse onto the edge of the bed, staring at her in disbelief. The anger begins to bubble inside me, burning the last reserves of energy I have left. Selfish, mother? I snap, my voice filled with irritation. Everything I've done my entire life has been for the good of this family. You just want money, comfort, and you don't care how it comes to you, do you? I vent, frustrated. Yes, Caelum is the father of the children, but that was a mistake, mother. A mistake that happened 5 years ago. Do you think I planned this? Do you think I knew who he was that night? And now, with everything that's happening, with my children's lives at risk, you can only think about how you could be enjoying the wealth of the castle. My mother is stunned, her eyes wide in shock. For the first time, it seems my words truly hit her. The armchair that once felt like a throne of judgment now seems too small for her. But I don't stop. I need her to understand, to see what's at stake. Alexander might not survive, mother. My voice falters for a moment, and I feel the emotion threatening to overtake me. He proposed to me, and I wanted to say yes. Not because of the Duke's title, but because I love him. The last words come out almost as a whisper, heavy with a pain I didn't know was still there, lodged in my chest like a buried blade. My mother remains silent, but now her face carries something more, perhaps regret, perhaps doubt. It doesn't matter. I won't let her or anyone else belittle me any longer. I raise my chin, determination taking the place of exhaustion. Nothing is ever good enough for you. Nothing I do is enough. I take a deep breath, feeling the weight of years of oppression start to dissipate with every word I speak. It's as if, finally, the invisible chains my mother always used to bind me are breaking apart. I love you, and I appreciate the help you offer with the twins. But I won't accept any more of your criticism about the choices I make. My voice is firm, supported by a strength that, only minutes ago, seemed non-existent. The twins and I are leaving. It's not safe here anymore. You're welcome to come with us, but if you don't want to, that's fine, I declare, determined. For a moment, she seems to hesitate, but it doesn't take long for her authoritarian tone to return. Where do you think you're going, Aria? Her voice is full of disbelief, as if my decision is just another absurd whim. I shrug, crossing my arms in a defensive gesture. The exhaustion weighs on my shoulders, but it also pushes me forward. I don't know, I admit, my voice carrying a mix of tiredness and determination. But anywhere is better than here right now. Safer. I'll go to another city, another kingdom, doesn't matter. Tomorrow morning, the twins and I are leaving. Mom stands up, and I notice her face carrying several conflicting emotions before she lets out a tired sigh. Well, she begins, looking at me with a gaze that shifts between reproach and reluctant acceptance. Wherever you go with those little pests, I'll go too. That's what family is for, to stick together, no matter the problems. I know that for my mother. These words are the closest thing to I love you she can express. An unexpected warmth fills my chest. Despite all the criticism and misunderstandings, deep down she is my mother, and her declaration of loyalty, even begrudgingly, means more than I can say. With a short nod, I agree. I don't need any more words now. The decision is made. Tomorrow our lives will change for better or worse. But they will change. I'll pack our things then, she says, turning to the door with the same dignified posture she always carries, though her shoulders are a little tenser, as if bearing the weight of years of unresolved choices. See you tomorrow morning. See you, Mom, I respond, watching as she disappears down the hall. The next morning, our car is filled with our suitcases and a few boxes. The anxiety of leaving here and disappearing off the map runs through my entire body. Where are we going, Mom? Thorn asks with that sweet, excited tone only a child can manage. His little face is full of expectation, and for a moment, I feel a knot tighten in my throat. We're going on a new adventure, my little angels, I reply, forcing a smile as I adjust his seatbelt, making sure it's secure. How about we see the beach? My voice carries a purposeful enthusiasm, trying to mask my own anxiety. Thorn and Aloan shout excitedly, their eyes sparkling with joy at the trip we're about to take. Their reaction brings me relief. They haven't clung to the traumatic event of the kidnapping. My children have been strong and brave, and that makes me proud. If you like it, subscribe, share, comment, and like. If you want to read the book, link in the description.